Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and talk about a cool place to shoot tonight. We're inside the USTA National Tennis Center at the US Open for a City Parks Foundation fundraiser hosted by the one and only Billie Jean King. We'll be bringing you interviews with the legend herself as well as the executive director, Heather Lubov. So get ready for a great night behind the velvet rope. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and Billie Jean King is already complimenting me on my name because Arthur Ashe, your uncle.
Arthur Ashe, and my uncle's name's Arthur, so I love Arthur.
It's
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed, and I can't play tennis, so that's a negative. First of all,
no, it's
incredible event here. Talk to me about this event.
Well, the City Parks Foundation, Mike Silberman came to me about 18, 19 years ago and said, you know, they give free instruction to 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 young people every summer. They give free instruction in all 5 boroughs in New York. And he came to me about 19 years ago and said that we're going to have to cut out the program. And he said, what are we going to do? So Steve Osmond and Mike Silberman and I went to a diner. We sat down and I said, maybe we can do a fundraiser during the US Open. And he's going, oh, no way we can make that happen. So I wrote to the president of the USDA. They gave us the space. And every single year the USDA has given us the space. We don't have to pay for it. And I said, if we can get sponsors, let's raise the money. So there's 3 co-founders, Steve Osmond, Mike Silverman, and myself. Mike's still working for the City Parks. And so we've raised this money every year so the young people in the 5 boroughs every single summer are going to have free instruction.
Women's tennis. Talk to me about the state of women's tennis. It seems like it's better than it ever has been, but I want to know your thoughts.
I think men's and women's tennis is in a great position. It depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about professional tennis, I think it's the best ever, and there's more money, there's more opportunity. I think Serena Williams this year obviously is where everyone is concentrating on because she could be the, we haven't had a woman win all majors in the same year since 1988 when Stephanie Graf did. Stephanie also won the Olympic gold that year, so we call it the Golden Slam. But this would be amazing, and the only other women besides Stephanie that have ever won all 4 majors in the same year are Margaret Court in 1970, and then in the early 50s the first woman was Maureen Conley, and the person who actually created the idea was Don Budge back in the 30s, and he went by ship. You know, you got to remember it's Australia, France, America, and England, and so he figured out that nobody else would probably go on ships or spend the time he would. And he created it and started saying, I won the Grand Slam. So Don Budge, he created something back in I think it was 1936, I think I have it right, when he did this. So it's quite amazing. Now everyone's into the majors. But Serena Williams we all think is the greatest player that's ever lived, and it would just be appropriate for her to win. But I do want to take my hats off to, my hat anyway, I have more than one sometimes, to people like Chris Evert, people like Martina Navratilova, people who started the tour early. We did not play the Australian, we did not play the French, so they sacrificed a lot of titles. Rod Laver missed 20 majors because he was a contract pro, wasn't allowed to play at Wimbledon. So I think it should have an asterisk when you see, particularly the men, when they have all these titles, because they were, Pancho Gonzalez, Ken Rosewall, were kept out of these major championships. So I think there should be an asterisk there to explain things. But for the women, we're always able to play all the majors. That's fine, but what we did is we sacrificed by playing the tour, trying to create professional tennis, and therefore did not play the Australian, did not play the French many of the years. So I think people should at least know that. It's very important, but it's amazing now. Everything's pretty settled, so it's more meaningful now than ever before because everybody's playing everything.
What you guys are doing with the City Parks Foundation I think is terrific. Talk to me about it because it's just wonderful work.
City Parks Foundation is the largest nonprofit organization that brings programs into public parks, and so one of the programs that we do is free tennis lessons, and Billie Jean King has really helped raise money for our program for almost 20 years now.
She was just telling me a story. Obviously, we're inside the USTA National Tennis Center, which is cool all in itself. I feel like I'm going to run out the court one and start hitting balls. But She told me the story about securing the space here, and tell me about how this all came about.
Well, our tennis program used to be run by the city, and what happened was the city was in fiscal crisis and they were going to cut the program completely. And so City Parks Foundation really took it over and came in and rescued it. And Billie Jean King has helped us raise money to make sure that the program continues.
When you're able to get an icon like her, because she's not just an icon on the tennis court, she's also an icon in life, society, LGBT rights. When you get someone like that behind you, what does that mean for the organization?
I think what's most important is what it means for our kids, because they can see that someone like Billie Jean King is taking an interest in what they're doing and really paying attention to their work and really cheering them on.
I know you're proclaiming a big day here today along with Billie Jean King. Talk to me about what you're doing.
Well, Billie Jean King is just an icon. She is just an icon not only in sports but in the women's movement. She did more to help women. She broke down the barriers in tennis for equal pay for equal work. She elevated women, and she brought all the women of America along with her. So when I get back to Washington, I'm flying a flag over the Capitol in her honor, and I'm coming back on Thursday with a congressional proclamation for Billie Jean King.
It's amazing.
I got to be back on Thursday, and I want to present it to her.
Talk to me about, when you talk about what she's done for the women's movement, talk to me about the progress she's helped make, because she is one of the pioneers.
She's not only a pioneer, she continues breaking trails and supporting good causes. And when she stood up for women, she broke down those barriers, and everybody was gasping. And she just stood up and said, I refuse to play unless I'm paid a reasonable amount and an equal amount. And we're still fighting that struggle. She knocked it down for tennis, and then we're still paid 77 cents to the dollar, according to statistics. Women, they have to work that much longer to get paid the same as a man. But we'd probably be at 50 cents or 30 cents
if it wasn't for her.
If it wasn't for Billie Jean King. And one of the great evenings of my life is I was here when they named the stadium for her. Number one, I was shocked that they would name it after someone who raised so much hell. I mean, she really, she took them on. She took all the big boys on and took on the whole field and the whole industry and gave them a lot of trouble. And I was really surprised that they would name this. And I was here, and that night was unbelievable, because they had the Girl Scouts marching across the field. They had Carol King, the great singer, probably one of the greatest songwriters, female songwriters in history, dedicating songs to Billie Jean King. And there was Billie Jean being her wonderful self, down to earth, being so appreciative of everything that she's been able to do and of everybody who's worked with her. But tonight I talked to her about the Equal Rights Amendment. I said, we got one last hurdle, Billie Jean. We gotta pass that.
She's like, can I get a vacation already, please?
You know, she says, I'm ready to go. Tell me what to do.